Really?
Yeah.
A giant inflatable Smurf or something?
My wife wouldn't leave. Wouldn't.
Really?
We went there expressly for her.
Okay.
It was like a childhood dream to see the Macy's parade. And I kept telling her, like, it's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold. And then the next morning, it was like record cold temperatures. And I was like, come on, we'll go. You know, and she's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I said, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. She's like, I'm going to regret going. I'm like, go. Something happened where one of the balloons, I think it was the underdog balloon, hit a light post, and it killed like 3 people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was like a freak. It was like a freak accident.
But how many times has that happened?
Never happened.
Never happened?
Never. It was like a one. It was just a freak accident, and they were debating about canceling it. They were going to be like checking the wind, and if the wind got up to a certain, speed, then they were going to have to cancel the parade.
Yeah.
And then the day before, it was like really windy.
And they went on with
And
it?
everyone was talking, they're like, oh, they're going to cancel the parade.
And they went on with it?
They did. There was
my
no way
goodness.
they would cancel it.
My
There was no
goodness.
way they could cancel it. But it is cold. It is. Because you're in the city and the wind is like whipping through the buildings.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's brutal. And you have to get up really early to get a spot.
And how is it an all-day event, or it's that morning?
It goes to like, it's probably over depending on like where you are.
Okay.
It's over by 11 o'clock.
Okay.
But you have to get up
Like
really,
5.
really early just to get there. Not even to get like a good spot, but just to get there because the subways are like super crowded and just moving. Just trying to move around.
And it's not like there's no admission at
Yeah,
all. It's through advertising that they're supposed to make money.
Yeah.
All right, well, you're on.
All right. Back again with the always insightful and entertaining Mr. Curran.
Thank you.
Starting off, first episode for the academic 2021 fall year. And specifically, we're going to be talking about something that's weighing heavily on the minds of seniors everywhere. College. And Mr. Curran has a bit of experience with that. But before we get to that, how are you doing, Mr. Curran?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Dan.
Before we started recording, we were talking about your summer, and you go to Boston. Do you go to Boston every year over the summer?
I try to get home every summer.
Okay. If not Boston, where else would you go? Do you always want to travel during the summer, or?
Yes, I make it a point to travel.
Okay.
My sister lives in London, so she usually makes arrangements for me to visit her at some point.
Okay.
Usually like every couple of years, every 2 or 3 years.
Right. And then you can also go and see Europe
Yes.
if you're going to London. So we have talked about your escapades in Europe before. I remember specifically you got lost in Berlin.
Oh yeah. A few years after, it was actually just a few years after the wall came down.
Oh really?
Yes. And
You were a young man when that happened.
yeah, and Eastern Germany, was still, even though the wall was down, it was still pretty segregated. So walking through East Germany, the former East Berlin, most of the people I encountered were speaking German.
Okay.
I couldn't communicate.
How was it? Because it's like obviously it's not the whole city was geared towards something idealistically different than the West. Did you see that clearly? Besides just the people, because it's a kind of
Well, you could still see the remains of like World War II. There were a lot of bombed out buildings still there that
Really?
were, I guess, intended to serve as like a reminder
Oh wow.
to the Germans. So that, the Russians were controlling, East Berlin. So, yeah, they left, buildings in ruins there as a reminder.
Actually, 1984, a constant reminder of their subjugation.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Anyways, this is getting a little bleak too quickly for my tastes. So,
But I did visit a record company that had established a base in the former East Berlin.
Okay.
And that was really cool. A
Oh,
lot
right.
of young people were working there. It was a really, really cool place. I forget the record company though. I think it was like maybe Atlantic or something, but
Okay.
they set up a major base in East Berlin.
it's immediately after, like,
This was a few years after
Okay,
the wall came down.
hmm.
But it's pretty cool. U2,
Wait, Mr. Curran,
U2 had recorded their album Uptown Baby there.
Okay.
do you listen to YouTube?
Yeah, I'm Irish. I'm Irish.
You listen to the Cranberries?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you ever go to Colorado?
yeah I've been to Colorado.
Did you go to the Red Rocks Amphitheater
No.
where they had the YouTube concert?
I know that. I saw the video. I
Didn't you
remember
go?
the video Sunday Bloody Sundays filmed
Yes.
at Red Rock.
Bloody Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of their.
But I like all the Irish rock bands. The Pogues. You know the Pogues?
No, I
You don't know the Pogue? Okay, then you have to check out the Pogues.
Okay. Can you give us a little sample?
We were gonna talk a little bit about music. I asked you, and he didn't want to say anything controversial,
Yeah.
but we
No,
can
I'm
keep
okay
it G.
talking about the
We can
Pogues.
keep it G.
They're like a large instrumental band, and they have guys like I saw them way back. I saw them about 30 years ago, and they had people an age range of like 15 to like maybe 50,
Okay.
and they was playing like every instrument.
Hmm.
Really cool. Pogues are really cool. They were a really cool band. They're
What's-
not really around anymore.
What's a common theme in Irish music in general?
Well, if they write, well, we can talk about the Pogues. They write about Dublin, like being down and out in Dublin. You know,
Okay.
"Dirty Old Town" is like one of their most well-known songs. But they had some upbeat songs too. They did like a Bob Dylan tune, "When the Ship Comes In." It was like really, really optimistic.
Okay.
But
I'm more the most Irish. The Irish band that I've listened to the most is the Cranberries. And
Yeah, I'm
all their
familiar with
songs are incredibly bleak.
yeah, oh, yeah.
And like, but it sounds nice. I enjoyed listening to it. Is that a I mean, just Irish and Russian media in general. It all seems fair. You know, a lot of aspects is the bleakness. It's the just the state of things. Like,
Yeah.
not-
I mean, they have a sad past,
Yeah.
you know. So.
not nihilistic. I don't
No,
think.
no, no.
But
They kind of, I think, they kind of enjoy wallowing in that.
right. It's like part of their identity.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think that's the
It
best.
doesn't ruin your day,
No.
you know. It doesn't. People like to hear sad songs.
Yeah. Especially if it's talented people
Yeah.
doing it. You can
It can
clearly.
evoke
Right. Bloody Sunday. That song name. Is this coming out during the Troubles, or is this during?
Yeah,
this,
they're referencing.
that event.
Yeah, one event. I really don't know. I want to say that it was a celebration. This is where I kind of have to be. I really don't want to get to the politics.
Right,
of it,
right,
but
right.
I think it was in Orange March. There was a group of British loyalists, called the Orange Men.
Mhm.
They have like a long history.
Right.
And I think they were parading through an
North Ireland?
in
North Ireland.
an Irish part of Northern Ireland.
Okay.
And there was a confrontation.
Yeah, a product.
I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
the origin.
But I was going to ask, coming from a very Irish family and still having a good deal of most of your family being in Ireland and stuff like that, when stuff like that happens, how big of an impact did that have on you?
My parents try to avoid it as much as they can.
Wow.
I remember when we were younger, going to events, and if there were people from the IRA, looking for support, my parents would leave.
Like Irish cultural events?
Yeah, like
and
Irish
then
cultural
you would
events.
have IRA members
Yeah.
recruiting. disenfranchised young Irish.
Yeah. Well, usually just to raise money.
Oh,
People
okay.
looking for money. They weren't
Alright.
recruiting.
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
they were just looking for money.
Okay.
And we would always, you know, like my father would say, "Okay, we're out of here." You know.
They didn't.
want to get
They didn't like
involved
the IRAs. They didn't like those IRA folk.
it's just something they tried to avoid.
Oh, okay.
You know,
No. All right.
you didn't want to get caught up in
Completely understandable.
it. Yeah.
Well, do you understand college, Daniel?
I'm trying to segue talking about the IRA into college, and it's kind of. But let's just go to that.
Okay.
When you were, I've heard you've told me stories about when you were applying to college, when you were a senior or in between that period of time. What colleges? What was your? Let's say what was your? If you can remember, like your top 3 or top 5 colleges that you wanted to go to.
I don't think I really had a list of schools that I really had my heart set on. Or, well, I'll say this: the list changed
Okay.
often. Like I remember early on, University of Maryland was like at the top of my list for no real reasons. I kind of liked it. You know, like I was really into basketball. They had a good basketball program, and
Right.
Len Byers was like my favorite basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason.
Did you visit the campus?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Was it nice?
It was large.
Okay.
It was a large campus, and that's after visiting. I had an interview at the campus, and it was just like really stressful. Like
Okay.
I flew in the night before. I flew into DC.
Mhm.
I flew into DC, and I had to take a train from D. I wasn't with my parents. It was
Okay.
myself and a friend.
Right.
I shouldn't have brought the friend with me.
How far away is it from DC?
It was, I forget now how long it was, but we flew in like a Friday late afternoon, so
Okay.
we got caught up in rush hour traffic and
Mhm.
all of that, all the commuter traffic on the train,
Yeah.
getting to Maryland. It was Silver Spring, Maryland, and it was like really hectic. And I was staying with a friend, and I was under the impression that he was living on campus,
Mhm.
and he wasn't living on campus.
Mm.
So I had a Saturday interview. So I had to get up really early Saturday morning and
Mhm.
find the administration building, and he
Right.
had no idea where the building was.
Mhm.
And just trying to navigate my way around this huge campus.
Is it also
Huge campus.
big in the terms of like I don't know, tens of thousands of students going there?
I would say at that time undergraduate enrollment was probably like 70,000.
Wow.
It was huge, and I had no idea how
Goodness.
big the campus was.
Yeah.
So that after that experience,
Overwhelmed. It
Yeah.
sounds.
I just couldn't imagine myself getting from point A to point B
Okay.
every day. I was like, how am I going to do this?
Did you when you were thinking like, oh, I'll ride my bike, and then you saw the scale of the campus? Was it? I don't know. It was too much?
Yeah, there was like their quads were like fields, you know, huge fields, and just like looking at from one end to the other.
What about the dorms?
The dorm? It's a beautiful campus.
Okay.
And it's more of like a traditional campus. No high rises. At that time, there were no high rises. You know, maybe 5 stories.
Okay. Oh, okay. Were most of the colleges you were looking into, were they in New England, or were they kind of scattered, or? Because I mean, just based on location alone, I would assume so.
Yeah, we talked about a couple schools, like my dream schools again, but for no practical purposes, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know how things are today, but when I was in high school, you would get these glossy brochures,
Mhm.
you know, and
No, we get those.
yeah,
We get
and
those.
I mean, I was really drawn to those.
I got one from Harvard, a big, thick packet, and I was like, my brother, who I have no shame in admitting had better grades than me at this point, didn't get anything like that. I'm like, how are they selecting who to send these to?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just, I guess, whenever you send, write your email down send it for PSAT, you know.
There were a couple schools that I remember those lawsuit brochures. Flagler College. I don't know. You guys familiar with Flagler?
No.
Okay, it's in St. Augustine, Florida.
Okay.
And Flagler was a really fascinating guy. Flagler, he was involved in some major business ventures. He was involved in a couple things with Edison,
Okay.
J.P. Morgan.
So was he a philanthropist? Was the university an act of philanthropy?
He had a compound
Okay.
that was like a resort. It was beautiful.
In
It was
Florida,
like a resort. Yeah, in St. Augustine, Florida. Absolutely beautiful. The architecture was just wonderful. I mean, he was I think originally he was an architect.
Okay.
So the Flagler College is based on, his compound. So I was really drawn to that school
Okay.
for no reason. Like,
What was the one in Malibu that you wanted to?
Pepperdine.
That's
that was
right.
Another school that I was for no practical reason.
Just 'cause
I
it was
just
like
I just like
the Garden
I
of
could see
Eden.
myself.
Yeah.
I could see myself here.
I'll be a good student,
Yeah.
over here. I'll enjoy my time here.
Yeah.
So, it's also something besides, seems to be a trend that for no particular reason you wanted to go to this college. Was there any college that you wanted to go to for a very specific reason?
Holy Cross in Massachusetts. I really had my heart set on Holy Cross because when I went to high school, there was a guy who I really looked up to, a basketball player, and I had nothing but respect for this man.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great basketball player, but he was just a wonderful, wonderful person.
Okay.
I idolized the guy. I
Okay.
really looked
Yeah,
up
yeah,
to
yeah.
him. And he played his college basketball at Holy Cross. And Holy Cross had a tradition of producing a lot of the Celtics greats. And this is going way back when they would dribble with two hands and shoot foul free throws, underhand.
Right.
Like all those Celtics greats all played at Holy Cross, would have like this long tradition.
Yeah.
But it was this guy Ron Perry Jr. Like I just had so much respect for him.
Right, and he got a scholarship to play basketball there.
Yeah, he played basketball at Holy Cross, and his father was the athletic director.
Oh wow.
So that I really have my heart set on that school.
So no matter where you went, you wanted to play basketball where you were, or was it just something?
It was just if I was going to play, I would play at that school.
Okay. And sports scholarships aren't anything to joke about. They can get you. I mean, they can take you. Like you don't even have to be have any plans to become a professional, but if you can get a sports scholarship, that's basically a lot of times it's a free ride where you're also on the sports team but you're studying. Who knows what else? When I visited University of Dallas, a lot of the people there were interested because they had a good lacrosse team, and they were all planning to study biology and business and economics and stuff like that. They wanted to play on their lacrosse team because I guess it was valued there. I had no idea. But besides basketball, academically, what were you planning to go into? What were you even thinking about?
I had no idea.
You had no idea?
No idea.
What did your parents want you to go into?
I was lucky because my parents didn't put any pressure on me at all.
Okay.
Being like first generation, most of my friends were either, first generation Italian or Irish.
Right.
Like all my friends. And they felt a lot of pressure from their parents to become an accountant or a lawyer or finance.
Doctor or something, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But my parents really didn't put any pressure on me at all.
Okay. That's the thing with first generation, it seems. I know one example, M. Night Shyamalan, was first generation Indian, his parents, and out of a family of 7, he was the only one not to become a doctor, go into film, and he had a horrible relationship with his father until he made it, and then, that mended things because he was successful, because, you work incredibly. Your parents, leave and work incredibly hard, in to make something of themselves and have the ability to send their kids to college for higher education. They better be studying something that's going to be successful, um, or it's a waste or you're squandering. So, you had no idea? What was your interests in high school?
Sports. Sport. I was an excellent student.
Okay.
But I was really into sports and music.
Okay.
Um, but as far as, I had a lot of choices when I was looking at schools. Growing up in Boston, you throw a rock in any direction, you're going to hit a college. So I wasn't really concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really concerned. I'm like, I could really go.
Anywhere you wanted.
Yeah.
Were you part of any clubs?
Yeah. Key Club. I was really into Key Club.
Okay.
Our school had a
Good. Key
an
Club.
outstanding Key
Okay.
Club. Very involved in the community.
What were your friends? So your friends were pressured to go into certain fields, certain known to be successful fields like lawyer and law and business, finance, whatever. Were you thinking like maybe if I can't figure anything out, I'll just do what they're doing, or like kind of I'll just be a lawyer even though I have like no interest in it? Or were you interested in doing something that you wanted to like find a passion for, or were you just kind of like, I guess I'll become a lawyer because lawyers make a lot of money?
See, growing up in Boston, we had like sort of like a survival mentality. It really wasn't about thriving.
Okay.
Like in high school was just everything was just a battle. Everything was. I went to an
Fight to
inner
the
city.
death,
Yeah,
yeah.
I went to an inner city, all boys parochial school, and it was just like every day. Every day was like like a battle.
To the finish. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just tried to survive.
Okay.
You weren't thinking about thriving.
I'll
you
be
know?
yeah. I'll
know?
reinvest and I'll
And it
be
was-
successful. Yeah. I'll build upon my own success.
And it was the same way with college too. It's like wherever I'm going to go, you just thought like, how am I going to get through it? Not just getting good grades or anything like that, but just all the challenges.
Yeah.
Like just my commute into my school every day was I had to take I had to take the subway, then I had to get on the bus.
Right. Every day.
Yeah,
Wow.
every day. So just taking the subway like every day was just
Do you
rough. Rough.
Do you think those type of conditions like engender creativity? Do you think like a lot of people became more creative during those times, or you think it really stunted people to be in those types of competitive situations?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't change that experience at all. I wouldn't trade that experience because it was you had such a strong sense of independence. Like you walk out the door and you're like, oh, what am I going to encounter today? Like you're on the subway and you just don't know, like when those doors open, who's going to come at you, on the subway.
I think we're thinking two different things.
Was that exciting? Was it exhilarating? That kind of freedom.
I think I had a real strong sense of independence.
Okay.
And I just felt that it was all on me,
Right.
Success or failure was all on me.
Did you feel that in high school?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you finally chose a college, was there any reason, or was it like well, it's good as any other?
It was really a process of elimination. I looked at places where I knew I didn't want to go, like a large school. I knew I did not want to go to a large school.
Okay.
And just looking at different, I knew California wasn't for me. I knew New York City was not. I did not want to go to school in New York City.
Okay.
And I just started looking at like small New England colleges, and I would drive. I would take these drives with my mother on a Saturday. Saturday afternoon, we'd drive through the western part of the state, and we could go to like 2 or 3 schools. and we would just drive through the campus. My mother would ask me, like, can you see yourself here? You know,
Yeah.
can you see yourself here for 4 years? And, you know, after like looking at a few schools, I would say, okay, I can see myself being happy here
Right.
for 4 years.
Okay. And what college was that?
Assumption College.
Okay. For the folks at home, one more time in the mic.
Oh, Assumption College. It's in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Okay. And are they known for anything?
It's just your standard small New England liberal arts
College. Okay.
Yeah,
And did you enjoy your time there?
I did. I have, to this day, I still keep in touch with about 20 or 30 people. Some of my friends that I went to school with married girls from
College?
From Assumption.
Okay.
Their children go to school there.
Right,
You know, so
right. How big?
it's fun.
You said it's small, so
Very. I knew every person on campus
Wow.
by name.
To college bound seniors, like what would you tell them to look forward to in college?
To look forward to. Growth, growing, learning about yourself, really finding out who you are, and that is when you look at the people that you're hanging around with, you know, you're like, okay, this is who I am. You know, this is who I am. So yeah, establishing relationships with people, that was something that I really did not anticipate at all. Because again, going to an inner city all boys high school, very combative, like very, very combative. It wasn't about making friends, you know, it really wasn't about making friends.
How long did it take to make friends?
Like almost immediately. Which is really strange because I'm an introvert, you know, I'm an introvert. But
you're a socially savvy guy. You can
Charismatic.
you can dance through a conversation
Yeah.
like nobody's business. So, but small colleges, that's a strong sense of camaraderie, I would think.
yes, a lot of support.
Yeah.
Getting to know, forming relationships with your professors. Like I got to know my professors really well. Like he would call me, you know, on the weekend and ask me if I wanted to go out to lunch.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I got to meet the poet, Seamus Haney had just delivered. He had like a reading at maybe Clark University, and my psychology professor called me up like late at night, and he was a priest, and he lived in like a rectory, and so he said, "You want to come over to the rectory and meet Seamus Haney?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "How am I gonna get there?" He's like, "Take a cab." He's like, "Jump in a cab." He's like, "I'll pay for it."
Was it out there, the directory, or was it? Because I've seen.
It was off campus.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
off campus.
Okay.
So yeah, I had some great professors. I was an English major, so you had these sort of, you know,
You had to know your professors.
quirky
Yeah.
or eccentric professors. Yeah, and you formed a relationship
Okay.
with them. Really, I had a lot of really interesting professors.
What advice would you give to students who are very shy and they keep saying like, I can't make friends, like it's scary out there.
Students who don't have no desire to go to parties or talk to anyone at all and just want to keep their head down and I don't know, keep their nose to the grindstone.
I think it starts in the classroom. You know,
Okay.
you meet people, you're in a class with somebody. You know. And that's one thing that struck me, like, when I made the transition. I went to Boston University for graduate school. And I remember, like, the first time I was, like, coming out of a class, and I was talking to someone, and we were having this conversation, and we walked out onto the sidewalk, and I lost the person. She was, like, gone, you know? Because, like, she took a right, I took a left, and I was like, what happened? You know?
It's like a movie.
Yeah, and like at my undergraduate years, like you walked out and there was no one out, you know.
Mhm.
You just kept walking, you know, carrying on the conversation. But we walked right out onto like Commonwealth Avenue, and she was just gone, you know. So I was like, oh, I guess that was the end of the conversation.
On the flip side of what to look forward to, what to avoid, or what do you think is not good for?
Avoid party schools.
Okay.
Avoid party schools.
All right, students, all those interested in going to LSU, Mr. Curran, this is straight from the horse's mouth. Be good, all right? Don't go crazy, all right? So how come? Why no party schools?
It just takes a toll on your health.
Okay.
It takes a toll on your health.
Hear that, folks at home? Partying nonstop, it's scientifically proven to hurt your health. Do you think students should be going to college to grow academically?
Yeah, I think you can grow at your own pace.
Okay.
And you understand why you're. Again, I went to a liberal arts school.
Right.
So there was no pressure.
Right.
Really to master content.
Okay.
My first year, I wasn't allowed to declare a major until my sophomore year.
Okay.
And there were a lot of humanities courses that we had to take our freshman year.
Okay.
Like introduction to drawing,
Mm-hmm.
introduction to, you would have to,
You
had
take
to
a
choose
philo-
an instrument, had to
Okay.
take a philosophy
Class,
class.
The theology of anything, or was that?
I probably avoided that. I probably got out of theology.
Okay.
But definitely philosophy. I think I took a class of introduction to drawing,
Mm-hmm.
introduction to music. I was
What did
really,
you-
really lucky with that.
What'd you pick up?
What's that?
Instrument wise?
Oh, guitar.
Okay. Oh, that's yes.
Yeah.
That's right. He can play the guitar, and he needs to bring it and play it for the folks at home, and we'll record it and set it out into the World Wide Web.
But the guitar that I had for that class, I bought.
It's a bass, right? Or
No, I play the bass.
Yes,
I play the
okay.
bass now. But the guitar I had for that class, I went to like a used music store and I couldn't afford any of the
Right,
guitars. So I had to have an instrument. So I went to his toy store. I think it was like Toys R Us, and bought like one of the guitars with the nylon, like the nylon strings.
Uh-huh.
And I brought that. And my professor was a classically trained, he's a very, very gifted musician. And so he looked at me, he's like, "Where did you get that?"
Making a mockery out of the.
And I said, "Oh, I just borrowed it from someone." And he's like, "That's not gonna work." So then he's like, "I have a guitar that you can borrow."
Okay.
And he let me borrow like
Oh, wow.
a Martin guitar, like
Wow.
a really nice
Wow.
like Martin guitar. And he's like, "Take care of this guitar. Take care of this guitar." And I guarded that. I never put the
Because
thing down.
a piece of, that's like at least $1,000.
It was this was a very
Very nice
guitar.
guitar. Okay.
What's your favorite song to play?
On the guitar or the bass? The guitar, I don't know. I haven't played the guitar in a while. I play the bass.
Do you play in a group?
No.
Okay.
Would you ever?
No. No.
Why not?
I just like showing up.
Oh, okay.
So what song do you like to play on the bass?
What do I like to? I play a lot of Nirvana. I play a lot of Nirvana.
No! Oh my God!
I
Oh
play a
no
lot of
way!
Nirvana. Yeah.
Smells like Teen Spirit.
No.
Okay.
No.
No?
In Bloom.
Oh, okay.
I got In Bloom down pretty well. Lithium's kind of hard to
Mr.
play.
Curran.
All right.
Now this is for the people at home. Every day I've been having the bleach
Okay.
album in my
Oh, wow.
backpack
Alright.
just for everyone to
Wait,
know.
do you have a
I'm a huge
for everyone to know?
I'm a
Well,
huge.
Is it for
Nirvana fan.
I'm about to get my license, and I'm gonna be blasting that. So if
Okay.
anyone ever honks at me, they'll know at school it's me.
Not to mess with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't mess with me, dog.
You have power. You're playing Nirvana in your car.
I like the Pixies too. Play a lot of the Pixies. 'Cause,
Okay.
dude,
Yes, yes.
Nirvana was strongly influenced by it. They're from Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used to see them play when they were like way back. in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, they went to university. They met at University of Massachusetts at Amherst.
Wow.
Yeah. They started off small. We used to see them play in all the clubs. So I like playing Nirvana. The Pixies, I like playing the Pixies.
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
What's that?
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
A little bit, yeah. Not. I don't like to play this. I don't like the slap style. I really don't like that at all. Play a lot of Beastie Boys. A lot of from Communication. They have some really cool.
Are all three of them
some
still
really-
alive? I can't remember.
No, the bass player died
Okay.
of some form of cancer. He was a really gifted bass player.
Okay.
So they have some really cool bass lines on that album. Vitamins Rule. I play that
Have
a
you
lot.
ever-
I really like playing that.
Have you ever played Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana?
I don't really like anything
Okay.
off In Utero.
Oh, really?
I don't-
That's
I
surprising.
don't like it.
What is your favorite album? Since we're on this topic of music. Ever. Favorite album?
Please, before you answer, have you ever heard of Weezer?
Yeah,
Of course.
Do you like them?
not really.
You like Ween? You heard Ween?
I don't know.
Oh,
What about Sublime?
Ocean Man?
Sublime? Yeah, I don't like Sublime.
Oh, Mr. Curran is my
Artist.
favorite band.
How could you?
It's
You don't know
it has
Ween?
the reggae.
Okay.
But yeah, your favorite album.
Alt rock. You don't like alt rock?
We're asking him so many questions.
I'm sorry. Wait, what's your favorite album? Let's start there.
Okay. Maybe The Clash, London Calling. I like that.
Okay.
Um,
You like Pink Floyd?
I do like.
I was
Pink
about to
Floyd.
ask him because
Yeah.
you know Ms. Wagner loves Pink
Yeah.
Floyd.
I like
Dark
Pink
Side of the
Floyd.
Moon.
Yeah.
Obvious one.
I like the
But,
animals.
I really like the Velvet Underground.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting,
I'm a
Mr.
big
Grant.
fan. A big fan. Like I grew up listening to I think Lou Reed is like one of the greatest musicians. I mean his influences. He's influenced so many bands. I mean a lot of like if you like Nirvana, I mean they were definitely influenced by. I think Lou Reed was just a genius. A genius.
What about My Bloody Valentine? Is that too loud?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't?
you like
It's
Dio?
No. No.
I only like a couple of their songs.
When you were young, did they have music groups of boys? So there was like the Kiss group.
Boy bands?
Well, like the
Or like
The
in
boy- the
school,
fanboy
in
groups.
schools, like a group of boys like worship Nirvana for example. I mean, I guess this was before they got.
Oh, like where they're
fanboys.
Yeah.
yeah, the Who.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, my friend,
They're
we
into
love the
British.
Who. We love the Who.
That's fun.
Yeah. Like Keith Moon, I just love his antics. He was such a crazy drummer. You know, we just love watching him.
Okay. What song do you sing in the shower?
I don't sing.
What? Okay. What song do you sing? You're driving home. You're tired like today. What do you play? What do you play?
Liszt, I like Franz Liszt. I like to listen to Liszt. But I actually listen to a lot of the Velvet Underground. Like I'm really into Velvet Underground. I have like a huge collection of like every recording.
Okay.
Like
Wow.
every recording.
Every live.
Yeah,
Wow.
live recordings.
Do you have a record
Max's
player?
Kansas City. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Pale Blue Eyes.
Pale Blue Eyes. Yeah.
Yes, I love
like-
that song.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a good song.
Yeah. I'll bring in some of my. I have like after Lou Reed died, like every recording that could be found was like
Was
put
found.
on,
Wow.
was put on disc.
Wow.
So I have like all kinds of those.
You should bring your record player, and then when the students are doing, I don't know, reading a piece, you pop in a record subtly and start playing, and then act like nothing happened, and they're like, "What's going on?" I think that's
Allie, you would like one collection they have live in '69. He played in Dallas, and the version of What Goes On is wonderful.
I'll see it.
It's about 15 minutes long.
No, okay, so the first time I listened to Pink Floyd, they're long songs.
Yeah.
So I fell asleep halfway through one of them. And I woke up and it was still the same song. And I thought maybe I had went through the whole album. But no, it was still the same song.
yeah.
So I like really long songs. They're
No,
nice.
yeah, Ween has like songs that are like 9 minutes long, but it's a lot of instrumental, not. So, What was I gonna ask?
It's just the way. Now that you're saying it, like the Pale Blue Eyes song, I like to think about the lyrics, and they're so simple.
He was a great songwriter. He started off. He worked for like a music house, just churning out like little pop songs for like studios. I think it was called like the Pickwick House or something like that that he worked for, and then that he just needed money.
You like Johnny Cash?
I do like Johnny Cash.
It's the only country I like. You like country?
No,
Okay.
not really. No. You saw Johnny Cash at Jazz Fest.
You did?
Yeah.
What year?
This is going back. It was actually the year he played. I don't know the year,
Okay.
but I remember the lineup. He played the same. He played on the same stage. I think it was really. I think it was like Willie Nelson, Van Morrison. I think it was like Willie Nelson, Van Morrison, and then Johnny Cash.
It's like an all-star. It's like an all.
on the same stage.
Oh wow! Wow.
Yeah. On one day, I think it was one. If I remember correctly, maybe one of them played on a different day.
Is Jazz Fest still that big? Do they still get that much
Yeah.
as big? Because I've never been.
You have?
No, because it's such. I don't know. Like when you actually live here and you see all these foreigners coming in, and then like a horde of people, it's like I don't even. But I should go.
Crowd of like 100,000 people. That's
By foreigners, I mean people from like Texas and Mississippi.
Yeah, people.
What was one of the greatest musical experiences you had?
There have been a few. I think the first concert I saw a David Bowie concert when I was really young. It was a Serious Moonlight tour, and my mother brought me to that. So for sentimental reasons, I liked it. I just asked my mother, like, I like David Bowie, and
What year was that?
it was called the Serious Moonlight tour. I don't know what year that was.
Was it where was it? Was it in Massachusetts?
In Massachusetts, it was like a big stadium. This was back. It was toward the end of the stadium year.
Okay.
You know, the Rolling Stones, all
Yeah,
the used to play the big stadium shows. So this was like the tail end of that, and he was playing at Foxborough. Now it's called Gillette Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just said to my mother, I'm like, I really like David Bowie. And my mom was like, I like him too. So like, you want to take us to the concert? She's like, all right. So my mom brought me to David Bowie concert. So that was cool. So sentimental reasons.
What's the last concert you've been to?
The last concert I went to actually, I think, was the Pixies.
Oh wow!
Really?
Years ago, yeah. They played at a small venue in New Orleans. I don't know. I forget the name of the theater. But that was a while ago. That was like a real concert. I mean, I've gone to shows and stuff
Yeah.
that, but like a real concert.
What's the biggest concert you've ever been to?
I think the Who. I saw a Who reunion tour. That was big.
Mm-hmm.
The David Bowie concert was really big too. Yeah, that was back. That was like toward the end of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
The stadium concerts. You don't really see
In a
that.
big amphitheater in Boston.
This was this is a football stadium.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the Kinks? Were you into that?
Not
or
really.
no?
No.
What's a genre or a band that you feel nothing but spite and virulent hatred towards, and every time you listen to it, it makes your blood boil?
I can't think.
Okay.
There'll be like a lot of kids that come out.
Mm-hmm.
and, like,
Oh yeah, no, with their picket signs.
Yeah.
No, because I have like a new appreciation now for like a lot of the '80s, like a lot of '80s bands that I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
I like listening to them now.
Okay. What an
I
example
can't
would
stand
be?
the 80s.
What would an example of that?
Joy Division.
Okay.
Like I didn't like Joy Division when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But like I listen to them now because I play the bass. Like I like the bass lines,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Right.
And a lot of those bands that people were kind of down on had really good bass players, like really really good bass players.
Okay.
So for that reason, I listen to them.
Right. What were we talking about? Besides music, college. I don't know. So you went to this liberal arts college. It's a good transition. But you went to this liberal arts college. Were you gonna you're like, I guess I'll major in English because that's your major, right? And then you went back to get a degree in teaching. So did you immediately want to start majoring in English, like after taking a couple classes in your
No.
second year, or?
No, we had to take like a whole series of tests.
Okay.
We had like over the summer, we came in one weekend. We just took a battery of tests, and they just looked at the results, I guess, and they advised us on which classes we should take.
Okay. Were they standardized, or was it specific to the college?
It was specific to the college.
Okay. Okay.
All kinds of crazy tests.
So, what were you doing in majoring? Now that you're majoring in English, what was the classes like?
Well, you would try to, you would get to know like 2 or 3 professors, and you kind of just focus on whatever classes they were offering. You would try to take as many of those classes as you could.
Okay. Is there one that you, I don't know, think about, like comes to mind?
A class that stuck out like a
Yeah.
Really just the classes I didn't like, probably not the classes that. I remember taking a class that was very disappointing to me was a class on African American literature.
Mm-hmm.
And the instructor, I didn't think she was qualified to teach the
Okay.
class.
What were you reading?
We were reading a lot of Toni Morrison and Alice Walker,
Okay.
and she just really didn't. She didn't have the passion for Toni Morrison, and that was like my first exposure
Mm-hmm.
to Toni Morrison. We read Beloved, and it was very, very difficult to read,
Mm-hmm.
and she offered no insight at all,
Wow.
like nothing.
Not interested in it.
She didn't. I mean, in order to teach a class like that, you would really need to
Have a
know
love
her
for it.
Yeah. She didn't really know her work that well.
Okay. Did you take any history classes?
No.
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 Wow.
A lot of the main classes I took were English, a lot of English courses, all the humanities courses, a lot of sociology classes, I was in a lot of sociology classes.
Any classics classes?
The classic,
Yeah.
yes. A lot of political science classes. I don't know
Really?
why. I don't know.
Wow.
Probably because they were easy.
Okay.
Wait, you're saying like you can't even remember why you took them?
Yeah, political science classes. I think I had a couple of friends who were political science majors,
Gotcha.
and if I was looking, to like lighten the load a bit, they say, "Oh, take this, take this poli-sci class. It's easy."
And how much poetry do you think you read?
Quite a bit.
Now, before that, did you have an appreciation for poetry, or was it because I think the general population in the 21st century, poetry is seen?
Yeah, that love of poetry was instilled in high school.
Okay.
We had Christian brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all into poetry. That's what they did, That's what they did when they weren't teaching. They were reading poetry. So whether it was a math teacher or a history teacher,
Yeah.
they would recite poetry in any class. Any class I was in.
Right.
I would have a Christian brother who was reciting Milton or somebody.
Yeah. Poetry. What do you think about reciting poetry as a sign of class and intelligence? Do you appreciate people who can do that? Do you want to be that kind of person?
What? Who can?
Like you're at someone's
Rattle
having
off,
a conversation,
rattle
and then you
off.
come in, and then you start going off in iambic pentameter.
I don't know, like if you can quote Yeats on the right occasion,
Uh-huh.
then that's a gift.
Right.
But if you're quoting Yeats just to quote Yeats,
Okay, two questions. What's your favorite poem and who's your favorite poet?
I would say Seamus Heaney is my favorite poet, just because he's good, an Irish poet who's done so much on a contemporary level,
Uh-huh.
and I had the opportunity to meet him, so
Yeah.
not just that.
Is he still alive?
No, he died. I think he passed in 2015, maybe.
Okay.
Oh no. 2011, maybe 2010, maybe 2011.
Was he older or at that point?
He was. I mean, he was still very productive.
Okay.
Still very productive in his writing.
Yeah. What's your favorite poem?
That's hard. I would say maybe Paradise Lost. Just
Oh,
the
wow.
work itself, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's an
Paradise
epic
Lost, yeah.
poem.
Yeah, I really enjoyed reading
How
it.
long? It's like I haven't read it, but I do want to read it, and I know.
I have a copy of it.
Well, maybe I'll have to pick that up.
Yeah.
I know the synopsis kind of it because I'll find something like a class like the Divine Comedy, and then I'll read everything I can about it before actually reading it, and then I'll read it, and
Okay.
because I'll understand, I'll
Yeah,
have a,
I think that's an effective approach.
But what is it about Paradise Lost?
It's about hell.
Yeah, right.
Every great poet, wants to tackle that theme.
Right. The afterlife.
Dante.
But it's the main
Eliot.
right.
Milton.
But the main character of Paradise Lost is Lucifer, and his experience, his relationship with higher power. And how long is it? And you must have read it in high school. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's as taught as it.
No.
You didn't?
Yeah. Oh, did I read it in high
Did you-
school? Oh, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But I'm saying it's not really taught. It's not really taught now. When I taught British literature, we tried to. We had to make some decisions. So
Mhm.
I decided to read, teach, some of the Inferno, some of the Wasteland, and some
I
of
love
Paradise
the
Lost.
Inferno.
And we would just move between the three works.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
probably read more Dante than we did Milton, though.
Okay.
The students really got into the Inferno.
Well, it's
And they
gripping.
did it.
It's incredibly
Yeah.
gripping.
Yeah.
So Paradise Lost kind of fell by the
Felt
wayside.
would you wish that it was taught more, or just based on your own appreciation for it? Okay.
I think it's better taught because I would have to read every note, they have a little footnote to the references in Dante's Inferno because every guy they mention or that they walked across, he was like a sinner in
Historical
Dante.
figure.
Yeah.
And
Either
some of
in-
them were minor characters, like
Right.
Dante, maybe just someone Dante didn't like,
Right.
and he
Or
threw his name in there.
a guy,
and there's no explanation.
politician from Florence
Yeah.
who died 10 years ago
Yeah.
that Dante
He's
knew
sentenced
on a
to-
very basic level, but he was, I don't know, embezzling funds or something. But in Limbo specifically, that's as a person, great lover of history. That's Virgil too, and then Cato. So you like, we all like the Inferno. What do you think of Purgatory and Paradise? Because most people don't even know those two
I'm not doing
exist.
the other two that.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
Paradiso I enjoy, but it's been a long time since I read that.
Okay.
I don't think I read that in high school.
Okay.
Probably, I read it in college.
And I guess, Mr. Curran, since we're on the topic of music and literature, I know you have a lot of Picasso paintings, but you always strike me as an impressionism type of guy. What's your favorite art style? Like realism, modernism, postmodernism.
Modernism.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like postmodernism, right? Or I remember we were discussing it.
Oh, postmodernism
Yeah.
in literature.
Or just in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
But there's different aspects of it. Like you have postmodernist architecture, literature, even you could say it affected music in a lot of ways. But in literature, I guess that's your forte.
It's overplayed. It's run its course.
Ah.
It's run its course, I think.
What about postmodernism?
Postmodernism is a move towards sincerity,
Right.
which I'm okay with that.
Okay. What about postmodernism, which is this cycles back to you can't tell if they're being sarcastic or sincere.
I hope we never get there.
I think you already see that in a lot of things, but it's so confusing at this point. It's like it doesn't matter how many posts you add to it. It's like I think it's the same attitude, just being directed in different ways, and that's because of the internet. And I think at this point it needs to be classified as something entirely different. But in literature, you don't appreciate it.
He has a fine taste.
That's right. He's well read. He's a gentleman and a scholar. No, but we all, I have friends and teachers. Like, you do a podcast with Mr. Curran? I was like, yeah, it's like really a highlight of that week or that month or whatever. It's just really enjoyable, and because people are interested in you. And that's the essence of this, what we do here. So, appreciate.
Next time we can talk more about Nirvana.
We can get you some sunglasses, and you can be with TJ.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So my advice, I guess, to end it off to the high schoolers, when you're going to college, make friends, try out new genres, and who knows, maybe the spirit of Mr. Curran will come.
Is imbued in you. That's right.
And you'll grow into a lovely person.
Stay away from parties. Read Paradise Lost.
Take classes your friends are taking.
Oh, like we spent half of this talking about music. Seriously, I'm sure you've had a similar experience. Listen to different music all the time because you can really find something that you just grow such an appreciation for that really speaks to you. So even if it puts you out of your comfort zone, listen to different music. Mr. Curran, you want to give the sign off?
All right. Take care.
Yeah.